Hi guys, it's Amy and you have found Amy Loves Crochet. Thank you so much for clicking on any of my videos. I really do appreciate your time. I have one finished project to share with you this week. As you saw from the thumbnail, it's with this Mandala bonus bundle. The colors are just beautiful pink purples all the way out to like this burgundy. And you may have seen recently, I don't know how recent now, but a couple months ago, I guess, I purchased an eBay bundle, a lot off of eBay. And so there was yarn and different yarn accessories in there. And so there were 4 of these giant bundles in there. These bonus bundles. They are 1,181 yards, so it's quite a bit of yarn. It is a 3 lightweight, and it suggests a 5mm hook. It's 100% acrylic, and you can see the twist on the yarn there. It's very, very pretty yarn. And you may have seen that I previously worked up this wrap. It's called the Semika wrap, and so you can see the way the colors just kind of play on through one right to the next. So that's really pretty, and they are, I think they were all in the same dye lot, but you know, you sit down to work with 1,181 yards of yarn, you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get my project finished. Well, of course I finished this project, but the pattern was intended for a smaller cake of yarn. So I went to Lion Brand's website to find a pattern for this, you know, to make something up with it. I wanted to do a shawl. And a lot of times when I go to make a shawl, I make a shawlette. So I'll take a full-size shawl pattern and just make a smaller version that you would wrap around the front of your neck. So that can, you know, obviously change up the look of the pattern. You know, sometimes you use a different sized yarn with that same kind of pattern. So I often do like mix and matches of ideas on what I have and what I'm going to create. So in this case, I thought, you know, it's Mandala yarn, it's a 3-weight yarn, it's going to be exactly the same. So the pattern that I found, it's called the Garden Path Shawl. And I knew that with, you know, their expectations of using this smaller cake, that I surely would finish it exactly the way it was intended to, because I had this larger cake. But it still didn't turn out the same. Oh, excuse me. So they used, the materials that they used were Lion Brand Mandala Slimmer Ball, number 271. Now, I'm not sure if that is the colorway. Slimmer is the colorway. But in any event, I remember looking it up, and it was about half the size. So it says gauge. It talks about the gauge right there. You're supposed to do a gauge. Be sure to check your gauge. It's in big old capital letters. Be sure to check your gauge. Do you think Amy checked her gauge? No. So I wasn't concerned with how the colorway was playing out. That sometimes changes where I want to stop in a pattern, why it sometimes becomes a shawlette. But in this case, the amount of yarn and the colorway of the yarn, none of that was going to matter to me. I was just going to do the pattern the way that the pattern says to work it, and I still didn't end up, I ended up much bigger. So the pattern is supposed to finish a finished width of 56 inches. Mine is 76 inches. And the depth from the center to the bottom of the spine should be about 24 inches. Mine was 40 inches. So, and I used the same hook size. And it's a 3, a Mandala DK weight 3. So I don't know what's going on with that. So I really like how the colorways played out. Ow, I hit my head. So I really like the way that the colors played out. You know, such a simple pattern that the colors really do all of the design. You know, just some simple double crochets and some chain 1, skip 1 double crochets for the mesh. And you'd think that with such a simple pattern, it would just be easy breezy. But the addition or subtraction of one of your chains when you need it can really mess you up. So yeah, it's a really good size, 76 wide by 40 down the center. So quite a bit bigger. I don't know, you know, I really didn't think that I crocheted that off of the regular guy, but if this pattern was supposed to be 56 by 24, and for me it ended up to be 76 by 40, I'm not doing something right. But I thought it was really, really pretty. I don't know where my voice went right there. And the border with just a simple reverse single crochet border. Some of us know that as the crab stitch, which I'm backwards. Some of you know that as the crab stitch. So if you're not familiar with that, when you're crocheting along and you get to your last stitch, you do a chain one and then single crochet starting to go backwards. So you're going in the stitch that you just came out of and go backwards along. It's called the reverse single crochet, and it just gives you this really pretty little curled border here. Let me try to get rid of my face. You can see that. It's just a really simple pattern along the bottom. It's, you know, nice variation to plain old single crochet along the bottom. So yeah, I'll insert a picture here. I need to do something with my little corner space here. I don't have enough room to put it on and show you full size. So really good size, really good size. I enjoy it very much. A little bit too big for here, I think, as much as you, I mean, I don't know how long is 40 inches down my front. If you were, ta-da, big ol', yeah, that's yummy. That's yummy and cozy. I like that. So yeah, this was a good pattern to be working on the side while I had other stuff going on, other stuff that I was working on. I had some downtime. So I love the fact that my granddaughter is, I love being a grandparent. Let me just start with that. I love being a grandparent. And I love that my granddaughter is in a preschool now. She's interacting with other children, learning that social interaction, learning A, B's, and C's and stuff like that. But she's bringing home every sickness and bug there is. I have been sick more often since she started school than I've been in like the last 10 years. So even just now, like a couple weeks ago, I remember it was my sister-in-law's birthday. So it was the 27th of January. And I was sick for like a couple of days in bed, dead to the world. You wake up and you're like, what day is it? That kind of thing. And I just had that again like last week. What's going on? I'm tired of being sick. So I'm not still 1,000%. But for Valentine's Day, my husband and I have a date night every Friday night. We go out to dinner. Last night was Valentine's. And so we're kind of funny in that we don't like crowds. So we go earlier and earlier to everything, you know, and we get there and there's like all just gray-haired people and us eating dinner at 4:30. But anyway, so after having been sick and losing like 7 pounds in 2 days, if you know what I'm talking about, my first like for real meal, I thought carne asada tacos with just the meat and the onions and the corn tortilla would do me just fine. And I did fine. So I think I'm back on the track to be okay again. But man, I hate being sick. And if you are anybody's feeling under the weather, I'm sending you good vibes, man. But one thing I wanted to bring up, or just, you know, reshare with you guys, I had made this, it's a back loop only, and then mesh. So it was kind of reminiscent of the shawl that I was just working on. But this is alpaca yarn, baby alpaca yarn that I bought bare, and then I dyed it with a Kool-Aid. And none of the other yarn bases that I dyed retained the smell of the Kool-Aid. I can still smell that fruity, I don't know if it's the cherry or the grape or a mixture or whatnot. But here's the colorway. You can see how light, oh, it's getting blown out. There you go. That looks perfect right there. There's some grapes and some different color reds in there. And it's just a nice little neckerchief that I throw on when we go out. That's a little bit tight there, but, and then my neck is warm while we're driving and stuff, walking outside. But anyway, so we went to Mexican food. Where was I going with that? I totally lost my train of thought. We ate with the old people. And so I had just pulled this off the shelf and it was cracking me up that I can still smell the fruit flavor of the Kool-Aid. Got my thing, and then I've kind of fallen into you know, the yarns that you have, sometimes you buy a specific yarn for a specific pattern, and sometimes you just buy a yarn because you think it's pretty. Well, sometimes I end up with yarn because I was buying clearance yarn just because it's on clearance, not because I necessarily like the yarn. or it's just an extra that I got in a lot that I bought off of eBay or something, and it's not the greatest color. So when I'm having to put a color in a pattern and, you know, into a project kind of thing, I get hung up sometimes on thinking that it's going to work out or not work out, and I just get stuck. So a long time ago, I don't know how long ago, I talked to you guys about having nods, my next on deck, and how much I love to have my next on deck. That means that I have found a pattern and a yarn that go together, and they are just sitting there waiting for me to have time to work on it. With me having to go through my stash, it's like I'm constantly up against that. What am I going to do with this yarn? And it's getting discouraging. Let me just tell you, you know, I made this idea, or, you know, I made this vow to you, or vow to myself, whatever, that I wasn't going to buy any yarn this year. And it's, you know, way early for me to be feeling this discouraged. So I did pick up this morning, you know, and then having been sick, like I wasn't feeling good, and no crochet pattern was feeling good. And so I was kind of feeling the blahs. And then I woke up this morning feeling good to start my video idea. You know, I start talking through, what am I going to tell you guys about my week, my yarny week. And I picked up a skein of something and found a pattern almost right away and jumped right into it. You know, that was 5 o'clock this morning, and jumped right into it. And so now I'm about row 8, I think, on that. And I'm super excited. It changes my mood so much. I hate being in between projects. And even to pick something up like that, I don't know if you guys saw my video from last week. I think it was just last week, where I started making that green, this yarn is called Natural Marl, and I started using the green skein and making something, and I just kind of fell out of the groove. So I picked that up and started grooving with it a little bit more. I'm still not in love, but I continued to work on it, even just to move my hands, just single crochets, like absent-mindedly, like, you know, while I'm doing other things. If I'm just sitting there and have nothing to crochet and nothing to work on and nothing to look at and being sick, like, not a happy place for me. So started my day off today wonderfully with having this pattern to work on. And yeah, just looking forward to getting it finished, because it's something that I have not done before. So that's always exciting as well. I think that's all I've got to share with you. I kind of rambled a little bit. I hope you're doing well where you are. We still have more weather coming. Oh, that was the other thing. My youngest son that still lives at home started a job that starts at 4 o'clock in the morning, and it's on a road. He has to take a road that I'm not in love with. So now knowing that, you know, so I'm going to have anxiety anyway, even in the best weather. So now knowing that we've got more crappy weather, excuse me, more, you know, white stuff falling from the sky, I am not happy about it. You're a parent always, you know, your children can be grown and you still worry about them constantly. I don't know what I'm going to do about this. This is weighing heavy on me. I'm having a tough time with it, but he'll be okay. I got to trust him. Got to trust Laurel, keep his eye on him, keep his hands on him, all that good stuff. So, all right, guys, I hope you're doing well. Happy Valentine's Day. Have a wonderfully blessed day, and I hope you'll come back and see me again. Thank you so much for your time. Bye-bye.